Hey everyone, we're here at Buchla and Friends 2026 with some familiar faces. It's the team from Korg Berlin. Why don't you go around and introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Tats from our Berlin office. I'm engineer. I run that part of the company, and we're proudly presenting Phase8 today.
Hello, I'm Lukas, also from the Berlin office, obviously. And yeah, I'm one of the engineers working on Phase8.
Hi, I'm Samantha, also from the Berlin office, and I'm a designer that's worked on various design-related tasks around Phase8.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I am a product experience specialist, and I'm going to be doing the demo today.
So this is an instrument that has a lot of buzz around it because it's an instrument that doesn't really make sound in the way that a lot of the other instruments here at Buchla and Friends make sound. It's an acoustic electric instrument, I guess. Would you
We call it
describe it that
acoustic
way?
synthesis, yeah.
Acoustic synthesis.
Yeah.
That is an entirely new paradigm. And I think I've seen a couple iterations of this, like the prototype,
Yeah.
and now this is really feeling like a finalized product.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been showing prototypes from quite an early stage for a couple of years now. So it's been great to have the community kind of seeing how it develops and joining that journey as well. So and it's finally out. So it's a big celebration for us this week.
Yeah, congratulations. And I see some of the knobs and switches and the sequencer on this are things that people will be very familiar with, and it'll be sort of immediately playable for anybody who's worked with any of the modern Korg lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. We've tried to keep acoustic synthesis. There's the acoustic part and the kind of synthesizer part. We've tried to keep the synthesizer part as familiar as possible, as approachable, and accessible as possible, so that you can this bit you're already comfortable with, and then you can get really kind of go a bit crazy and mess around with the resonators and sculpt your sound.
So you mentioned resonators. I was informed, but that they're called resonators, but it's sort of open to customization. You can put in custom scales and then adjust where you're exciting the resonators.
Yeah, so the position doesn't change the tone that much, but certainly changing the resonators themselves will change the tone, the pitch. We've also got 3 special edition ones that are going to ship with the initial batch. And we hope to put out more in the future so you can keep adding sounds and new scales.
Really, really cool. So when I first saw this, I sort of thought they were solenoids and that it was sort of hitting the resonator physically, but it's actually an inductor that's providing an electromagnetic field, and that's exciting the resonator.
Exactly. Maybe, Lucas, you can touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess, exactly as you described. We're not actually using physical actuators. We're using a coil, which is creating a magnetic field, and that's actuating the resonator, per se. So the resonators themselves, they're made of a magnetic steel, and that's how we can cause them to vibrate.
Really, really cool. And then I noticed this slider on the side is not a potentiometer or anything. This physically alters the sound.
Oh, it is a pot.
Huh?
It is a pot.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it works on the VCAs. It's a bit like the damper of a pedal.
Okay.
It kind of opens up all the strings for sympathetic resonances and some really cool effects, feedback,
see.
all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was checking out, I was imagining that it was sort of like loosening a spring inside to sort of like open up the tone bar. We
Yeah,
call it a tone
yeah,
bar.
it's the electronic equivalent of that. Yeah.
So cool, so cool. And then obviously the design on this is absolutely beautiful. Do you want to talk a little bit about what inspired the sort of visual cues for this instrument?
Yeah, sure thing. So this was actually a very wonderful collaborative effort between the Berlin office and the Tokyo office, the industrial design. And I think the overarching goal is we wanted to make something beautiful. We wanted to make something with high quality materials that
Absolutely.
is something that people really value, and yeah, keep things quite minimal so it's timeless. And this was all in the mix, all the
It-
different people who touched the design of it.
I think it's a really nice blend of sort of your Berlin influences. Obviously, you've got your sort of Berlin jackets all matching, but with it's very inviting, and at the same time, it definitely feels like a work of art, and it's quite solid. I picked it up and I sort of held it, and I think people are going to hold this and feel that it's sort of a virtuosic instrument. So why don't we hear it? absolutely stunning.
Yep.
That was so cool. You want to bring the rest of the team in. So the wood block, just interacting with it in physical space is, I mean, it's like amazing to see in person. I hadn't seen any. I actually sort of am going in a little blind, and I hadn't seen it played to that degree. But you know, it's so rare for an instrument to sort of have you interact with it physically beyond just like tweaking a knob, and you're really interacting with the acoustic world and objects, which that's so cool. One thing that I noticed with the sequencer, it incorporates some of the sort of the ability to have multiple different lengths of sequences, like you could sort of do in the old SQ1, which I love for doing polyrhythms. You want to talk about maybe the performance features that are in the sequencer of it?
Performance features, maybe.
Yeah, for performance features, so each resonator has its own 8-step sequencer, and within that you can change the number of steps per sequence with the skip mode, and then creating polymetric sequences.
So each one has its own can have its own sequencer length. So you could basically set a different sequence length and have them sort of repeat ad infinitum, never coming back into phase, or sort of the Phase8. It's in the name. Very nice. Is there anything else you guys wanted to showcase? Obviously, I see it. You can sync it up with the rest of your Korgs, your Groovebox, your Eurorack with analog sync. Anything else cool you want to touch on?
I mean, sure. I mean, it's got all the ins and outs, so you can connect with your hardware or software setup. We've got sync in, out, like classic MIDI in, out. We've got USB MIDI. We've also got a CV in, which we're showcasing at our booth. Actually, that's really cool especially for this community here.
Yeah. What can that be assigned to?
It can be assigned to any of the knobs on the panel.
Nice.
Global parameters as well. It's pretty flexible. Also, because the sound is so raw, it pairs really nicely with pedals, like external effects.
Yeah, we're using the Chase Bliss
the Chase
here.
Bliss Mood too, like really good pairing.
It sounds very lush.
Yeah. So it's got that kind of rawness to it that really kind of makes kind of these kind of effects kind of come alive. Also, we don't have speakers here, but because this is acoustic, you get feedback. It's a bit like an electric guitar or something. And you can hit it, and you can bring it up to speakers and get some crazy howling and
hit the table and sort of the way you could with like a spring reverb or something.
It's all about bringing that kind of aliveness into synthesis that was eventually more kind of just enclosed in electronics.
So cool. And it's released now, is that right?
Yeah, we started pre-sale last week, and they're rolling off the assembly line.
Really cool.
As we speak.
I'm obviously going to have to get one. Korg Berlin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Love the jackets. And this is this the first, I mean, obviously the first electroacoustic, but there's been a couple other products out of Korg Berlin, right? Or is
this is actually the
first one?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a big one for us.
Well,
yeah.
congratulations to you all.
Thank you very much.
It's such a pleasure to have you here. And big thanks to everybody for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one here at Buchla and Friends.